Hello, everyone. This is PamelaTopjian, and today we're going to delve into the question of if you ever really heal from past trauma, or is it something that's always with you, always causing you pain or some sort of dis-ease? And the reason I want to talk about this is because in my own personal life, in therapy, twice long ago, when my therapist thought I was ready to not have the sessions anymore, I was a little bit scared about that and went on to do okay. Of course, everything wasn't healed at that point. I still ended up having some nightmares and things going on after that. Um, and then now more recently, I was having some therapy again for some things that were coming up and, kind of haunting me, I guess I would say. And I wanted to delve into that and not have it be something that bothered me the rest of my life. So after, I don't know how many sessions, but after a few weeks, she thought, and I kind of felt like we were at a place where I got it, that things were feeling better. And the main reason that I went to see her was I don't know if it's healed or resolved or just more of an awareness and understanding in my life and in my mind. And I didn't have those triggers. I didn't have nightmares. I didn't wake up thinking about this or get myself in a depression thinking about this particular thing that was still bothering me in my life. And then recently, too, as you know, whether you know or not, I have a podcast called Holistic Connections, Conversations with Holistic Practitioners. And I talked to many different holistic practitioners. And just recently, one had offered to give me a session of the modality that they were doing to help free people from blocks and past traumas. And in thinking about it, I mean, that was a very generous offer, and I really appreciated that. But in thinking about it, like, I don't know what I need freedom from in my life at this point. And it just made me think then, do we ever really fully heal? Um, so let's delve into that. So when you know that you're healed, when you know that you're getting there or you're feeling more healed from any past trauma, it will show up by it no longer runs your life. The memories may still be there, but they don't sort of initiate that same emotional response from you. Like, oh yeah, that was terrible. I remember it. You don't have that same trigger, I guess. And you can sort of respond to things rather than just having an emotional reaction. One big thing too is you feel so much safer in your space, in your body, in your relationships, and you have a self-trust that you trust your own choices and decisions and thought process and even emotions. And those are some ways that you know that you're healing. And if you find yourself saying, or if any of these feel like you can relate to these, then you're healing, or maybe you've been healed, right? If you feel like the trauma no longer runs your life or doesn't ruin part of your life. So you might say things like, this used to really break me. This used to really break me down. But now I can move through it. I'm not stuck in it anymore. It's part of my story, definitely. Still part of the background. It's not something we've erased. That's not even possible. It happened, whatever trauma you've been through, whether it's chronic, sort of continuous, or if it's one event. Whatever it is, you're not stuck in there anymore. It's part of your story. It's part of what brought you to where you are right now and who you are right now, but it's not your identity. You are not this victim. You are not this person who is trying to get past this or trying to get through this. It's not who you are anymore. So trauma can definitely leave imprints and leave these dark spots within you, but we also are able to heal and grow and repair. There is neuroplasticity in your brain, and that can sort of rewire itself. If you've never heard of that before, definitely look into that. And your body can feel safe again, and your space can feel safe again once that happens. And your nervous system can learn new patterns. When you have supportive people in your life, supportive relationships, whether it's therapists, different holistic practitioners, coaches, or your partner or friends, sometimes family. A lot of times family are the reason for the trauma, but yeah, when you have supportive relationships and environments, safe environments that feel supportive, and it might be helpful when we're talking about neuroplasticity, it might be helpful to think that trauma is a wound. It might not be something that you can see that that shows up with a scab, but wounds heal and scars can form, but the wound is no longer there. Through that healing, oftentimes you become wiser, you act and think with more clarity. You can become gentler with yourself and with others. You become more rooted and grounded within yourself because of all the healing that you've done. So let's talk about some practical and holistic tools that can support healing. And I'm going to mention again to check out the playlist for my podcast, Holistic Connections. And it's also on podcast platforms. But if you're watching this, you're on YouTube, and there is a playlist with all different kinds of holistic practitioners. So you can look through that, and it would be fun to find someone that you connect with through there. And they can definitely help you to release these different blocks and release these stuck places within your mind and body and soul. Trauma can be stored in the body, and even generational trauma. So interesting, right? But it can also be healed. And some of the ways that you can help to heal the body through the trauma is somatic grounding. A few different ways to do that is just either getting outside and walking in nature. Any of those steps that you take to ground yourself, those can also help with trauma. But in the moment, set your feet firmly on the floor, on the ground, even stomping your feet, or taking care of a potted plant if you don't have a garden or you can't get outside. Hold something that is textured that you can feel, something that is sort of solid in your hands. That will help as well. Maybe even a crystal, or maybe even, something that's textured like a stuffed animal that you've had your whole life, something that might bring you some comfort or something. Also naming things that you see around you. What colors are in my eyesight right now? I see some red, I see some yellow. I see some purple, actually, some gray. So what can I see around me that helps to ground you into your space? And speaking of like stuffed animals and that, there's also inner child work that you can do that helps repair some of the trauma. Write a letter to your younger self. I talk a lot about writing, and again, on this YouTube channel in a playlist, I do evening or bedtime journal prompts. They're not the same as these deeper reflective ones because it's meant to put you in a calmer state and to think of something positive and more soothing before you go to bed. So it's really, those are all just something fun. But I do talk about writing and journaling a lot. Writing a letter to your younger self, putting your hand on your heart and letting yourself know, letting your child self know, you didn't deserve that. I am the adult in charge of you now. And give yourself what you needed back then. Whatever words you needed to hear, or whatever kinds of comforting surroundings that you need, you can do that for your child self now. And this helps to soften any emotional responses, and it can help eliminate some nightmares or any flashbacks. So we've all heard of deep breathing exercises, and there's many different types out there. You can do some of those that'll help ground you in the moment. I think that's also considered like somatic body work. And back to journaling, some of the journaling that you can do that is more deep and reflective and reparative would be, what part of me needs attention right now? What story am I carrying that is not mine to carry? Or what story am I carrying that has outlived the life of that story? It's way in the past, but I'm carrying it, keeping it alive within me. So what story, what event, what piece of me does not serve me well in my life at this time? Write those things out. Or what would healing look like in my daily life? How would my life look right now if I was healed from this? So those are some things. A lot of times trauma can disconnect us from ourselves, from our body even. So again, those grounding techniques, doing some yoga and hiking, walking out in nature, making sure you're doing balancing exercises, stretching exercises, those deep breathing exercises, even some EFT, some tapping. And one of the people that I had on for holistic practitioners talked about, rather than tapping, they do the rubbing. So rather than tapping, they're rubbing. And it might be a little gentler if the tapping is sort of bothersome to you or feels a little harsh, maybe. So that's another way to do that as well. I have another video with a very, very basic introduction to tapping. It's pretty far down there. It was a while ago. I could do a better one if you wanted me to, but just look it up, EFT, emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping. There's a bunch of information out there. So some more maybe spiritual ways is visualizing warm, comforting white light filling your chest and your heart chakra area, surrounding you with white light. Loving kindness meditation towards yourself first, and then the compassion out to others. Smudging your space. And if you don't know what smudging is, that's usually using sage or some other different incense that you go around the house, and it helps to clear negative energy. Even ringing a brass bell can help clear away negative energy. Taking salt baths, Epsom salt baths, visualizing and just imagining releasing any heavy energy down into the earth or down the drain after your bath. All the negativity, anything dark and heavy within you goes down the drain with the bath water. So some of these visualizations. Also, when you shower and the water's coming over you, you can close your eyes and visualize the water going through each chakra system, clearing it out, making that wheel of light brighter and clearer as it goes through each space. And if you have a spiritual belief or a spiritual practice, sometimes when we're in the depths of our trauma, we kind of forget about those. Some of the tools that we have in our toolbox that we already know about, we forget to do them, or we just don't use them at the time we need them most. I have certainly found that for myself. So that might be something you want to think about too. And if you have a spiritual practice that you do, reconnect with that part of you. Reconnect with whatever way is right and true for you in your heart and soul, for connecting with God, connecting with your guides, your spiritual team that's around you, your angels, whatever it is that feels right for you. Reconnect with that part of you. Sometimes when we have routines in our lives things that we know we can expect, we have control over. Even just like, I brush my teeth before I go to bed. When I go to bed, I listen to a guided meditation. And when I wake up, I make my bed. These are the things that I have control over. This is what I do every night. And this is something that I can rely on that feels calming, soothing, feels safe, predictable, gentle, both physically and emotionally. So some things like that, anything, it doesn't have to be those things, but that's just to give you an idea of the kinds of things I mean. Setting up these routines in your daily life, that can help also. And a lot of these seem really simple, but they can be really powerful. And it doesn't hurt to try. I mean, if you're still feeling stuck in those emotions, stuck in those dark places, if you're ruminating when you go to sleep, if you wake up thinking of something that past trauma, these can be really helpful. Also, therapy, cognitive therapy, please don't rule that out. Just because I have a lot of more holistic and maybe some spiritual advice and people on sharing about those types of things, it does not mean that that can't be also coupled with cognitive therapy and psychotherapy and EMDR and hypnotherapy, and different things can work well together. So don't dismiss the more typical types of therapy along with some of the more holistic or spiritual types of therapy. And I can't really wrap this up without talking about taking care of your body, just watching what you eat, watching what you're drinking, what you're ingesting, of course, smoking and alcohol, any kind of substances. Your body has to be in a good place to be able to heal the traumas. I know that that's a lot to, it's a lot to do at once. So if you're still feeling the effects and you still feel like trauma is having a negative effect in your life, a lot of these steps are something to eventually bring into your life and not to change everything all at once. And eventually you'll get there to living with more peace in your life and less pain in your life. And I feel like I'm there. It does not mean that it will never affect me again. If I get to a place that some of my past traumas are having an effect on me, having a negative effect on my life, then certainly I will definitely seek some help for that. Right now, I feel healed, but we all know that sometimes you can feel like you're healed and then something hits you. Like, oh my gosh, why did I have that nightmare? Oh my gosh, why did that trigger me? But then when it does, be aware of it, take action on it, journal about it, meditate on it, pray about it, whatever it is, and have that self-awareness that I need to address this. This is coming up for a reason and I need to address it. Don't just put it away. Don't just sweep it under the rug. Don't just forget about it. Address whatever comes up. So, do we ever heal from past trauma? I think yes. I think we do. I think yes, we do heal from past trauma. But again, it doesn't mean that, if you break your arm, it doesn't mean you'll never break your arm again because it healed, right? Life keeps going. Something else might happen that you don't expect that brings it back up. But be aware of that. And that's all I'm saying. So I really, really hope that this has helped. I thought it was important to make a video about it because of, like I said in the beginning, a couple of things that had come up, realizing and feeling more healed than ever, feeling more peace in my life than ever. So I wanted to share that with you. Hopefully this made sense, and hopefully this has helped you some in some way, and I wasn't just babbling on for nothing. Thanks so much for being here. If you have any questions for me or any other topics that you would like me to discuss, please let me know. I'm happy to do a video on something that you're interested in hearing about or something that you're currently working through.